camera is rolling, right?
Camera rolling.
Okay. So, John Paul, thank you so much that you are receiving us today, because we know that you are a very engaged entrepreneur and you are a very avid activist in so many projects. But today we really want to focus on the ocean, because we are here for the Ocean Decade. So what have you done for the ocean today?
Well, this is great. And by the way, I'm really happy to interview with you. You're one of the most honest interviewers I've ever known in my life. And I know by doing this, a good message will get out to the world to help us humans change what our ancestors may have destroyed a little bit. So that's what I'm here for today. And obviously the oceans are very, very important to me. I woke up this morning, for example, and I just spoke previously with Deborah Brosnan, the scientist and ecologist, about what we're doing in Barbuda to rebuild all the reefs. And it was a place where 4 years ago when I went there and bought this very large project. I'm one that believes you put the people and the earth and the oceans first, the project second. So here we had this almost 9 miles of the most beautiful beach, but a lot of the local people, because there was a lot of unemployment, sand mined the beach. They sold the sand to other governments and other places. They got rid of the sand. And it was destroyed a bit. And the majority of the public was unemployed. That's how they were getting their money to eat with. Well, the first thing we thought about was, we want to bring the sand dunes back. We want to bring, after storms, the mangroves back. And the turtles, very few turtles were nesting there. We want to rebuild their habitat with the dunes, and we want to rebuild the reef. Too many reefs are being destroyed everywhere. So with Dr. Deborah Brosnan, we put a project together called Ocean Shot, where we actually knew and we were going to rebuild the reefs. So we had it all set up, and we're teaching the local people of Barbuda how to be mini scientists, how to work with her, to learn how to save a reef. So what we did was very interesting. On one side of the island, most all the reefs are gone. There's a little bit left, but very little. But on the other side, more is there. We were able to get the species that survived the global warming, everything else, take some of those, and some of those that are growing, where we have more than 3 species. I think it's 4 or 5 species now growing. And we put under the water, call it a tree. It'd be like a pole sticking straight up with things sticking out of it. And that's where we would take from the lab the coral we grew, bring it in water, put it there, see that it works, and have a camera on it 24 hours a day under the water. And it works. And then the next thing we did was we got from the United States a company there to build us these, call it an imitation reef, where it looked like a big reef, but nothing was on it, okay? But it was like with the holes and everything else for the fish. And we took that, and the first ones went in 3 weeks ago. In the water, it worked, and we transplanted from the trees the living coral on there to be able to grow. And we're doing that on a very nice stretch of beach. We're gonna go to the second stretch of beach, and this is what we chatted about, what we're doing. We're all about saving the world. Most people think, well, JP, you're in the oceans. You've been a supporter of the Sea Shepherd now for over 25 years, and they even have a boat named after you, the John Paul DeJoria, and Paul Watson is your hero, which he is, by the way. In fact, he's starting a new organization that we think is going to be nothing but super cool, even better than what he did with the Sea Shepherd. Super cool. So this is the involvement that we have, and we look at other things like with Bobby Kennedy Jr., how I got involved with him years ago on Waterkeeper Alliance, and that's saving all the waterways on the sea, and of course even those on land that people are destroying. And why do I do this? Why is this so interesting to me? The best example I could give you, if I roll back about 24, 25 years ago, Roger Daltrey of The Who is a dear friend of mine. And there was a big event for celebrities we were having in the Vail Valley, Snow Valley there in Colorado. And they needed entertainment just for charity there, right? So I called up Robert Kennedy and I said, I would like to get involved here with Waterkeepers Alliance, money you're raising, and bring in a good group, and I'll sponsor it. So I picked up the phone and I called up Roger Daltrey, who's a dear friend of mine in England. I said, Roger, here's what it is. Could you come in and maybe help me organize a group? He said these words, JP, when the waterways of the United States or anywhere in the world go, the world goes. The world goes. JP, I'm coming as a gift. All you do is pay the expenses from your charity and the top people I have there. He brought in Billy Preston on the organ. He brought in the lead singer of Toto. I mean, he brought in unbelievable artists. It was one of the greatest concerts ever. But the words he said, when the waterways and the oceans go, the world goes. Yeah. Why am I here? I started out very poor in life as an immigrant, first generation American born in the United States of America. We had nothing. And now I have quite a bit. which most people know, okay? I have quite a bit. But I feel that it's our job to be this blessed, you know, the blessings of God, the universe, to be able to be so financially successful, not just with happiness, but financially successful, that success unshared is failure. So it makes me feel good when I can do something massive, like helping save the environment, especially the oceans and the waterways, to make it better for the whole planet. A little bit like paying a little rent for being here on the planet Earth.
You were born by the Pacific. What did the ocean teach you?
This is interesting. I was born in Los Angeles. We have a beautiful ocean there at Santa Monica Beach.
Right.
We lived in the city, and there used to be a little trolley car or a bus that would take you all the way to Santa Monica. But in those days, we kids didn't even have money for a bus. This is when we were 11, 12 years old. We would hitchhike all the way down to Santa Monica Beach from the Echo Park Atwater area of Los Angeles. A nice little long hitchhike. But we would get there, and it was a treat. So on a weekend when we weren't in school, let's go down the beach. And the great thing was we went down the beach, we had no money, we had the worst suntan lotion in the world. People told us, oh no, use baby oil. We fried ourselves but didn't know we were doing it. But it was such a treat. We could jump in the water, play, have some of the best time. So we always looked at the ocean as a treat to be there. Well, being in the United States Navy, after I got out of high school, to be able to be on an aircraft carrier and sail the Pacific. We sailed to Hawaii, to China, to Japan, to the Philippines, all over the place. I thought, this is just so wonderful, wonderful waterways. And we found out along the way, which I wasn't aware of, that in so many places the ocean is so deep that we don't even know what's there. So there's plenty of things to be discovered. But it was just wonderful. It took us from one place to the other, and how super that was.
Yeah. So when was the exact moment you realized we have to do something for our ocean?
Many, many years ago, I had heard, which I found hard to believe, that in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and now there's one somewhere in the Atlantic, an island of trash, an island as big as the state of Texas or bigger. I said, this is impossible. Because of the winds and the currents, that's where a lot of the plastic and this nets, I think half of it is nets from fishing, from those that are just fishing, many illegally, some, you know, not illegally, but I said, this is impossible. It'll swell. Look at all the plastics being used. It's going to swell and swell and swell. And I thought, you know, people are doing something about it, but I want to join the bandwagon. This is something that every human being should be involved in. Every human being. You know, give a little bit of something for all of mankind, not just yourself. And that's the first thing that got me interested. And then about 25, 27 years ago, Steve Wynn, who has many casinos that he started in Las Vegas, called me up one day and said, JP, I want you to meet Paul Watson. We met, and the rest was history.
Yeah.
And then I got on the ship as part of the crew, and we broadcasted every single day to everybody off the Sea Shepherd ship, because they were taking the baby harp seals that are born. They could only live on an iceberg for 2 weeks. If they go in the water, they'll drown. They've got to be, you know, a little stronger. The mothers would feed them. The people would club them to death for their furs, their white furs, these cute little baby harp seals. We went there, we petted them, we took pictures with them, harmless. Well, Paul Watson said because we were on that ship with him, he was with us, and we were broadcasting off the ship, not one baby harp seal was clubbed to death. And he estimated that we saved 100,000 baby harp seals from being clubbed to death. And at the same time, they passed laws to make it illegal to have these white coats in the baby harp seals. And we thought that was just wonderful.
How do you involve your family in all your ocean projects? But I mean it concrete. What rules do you have in your house to protect the ocean and the environment?
Well, my children grew up around that environment. For example, take Michaeline, who's now 37 years old. She's a CEO of John Paul Mitchell Systems worldwide. She grew up knowing about that, and she helped us put together campaigns where our people go out there and clean the beaches just to have something good to do. And she lives now by the water in California, and her little kids all grew up in the ocean. They learned how to surf, they learned how to respect the water, how to swim. So she grew up around an environment of the ocean, and her and her husband is magnificent, Nate. They realize how important it is to save that ocean, get rid of the trash, and save it for recreation, for your family, for the beauty, and obviously for the future of the planet Earth.
But at home?
What we have at home is a little bit different, okay? We have all, call it ecologically friendly products that we use to clean, to do everything with, because we're very aware that if you use the wrong thing, you may be in land, but it's going to leak out into the water system of the land or into the water and destroy it. So we spent a couple extra pennies, it's not that much more, to have all environmentally friendly products that we use, and the kids know it. And they practice that. You know, they practice it. My son, John Anthony, for example, is one that only shuts the light off when he leaves a room, but knows the importance of the quality of what we do here is going to affect the waterway, is going to affect the ocean, which is wonderful.
What is the thing what really makes you angry?
Few companies out there, and there's quite a few, that profess to take care of the planet but don't give a damn about the water or the ocean. They're looking for their profits, okay? That's what really, shall we say, pisses me off, okay? People talk about it but don't do anything. We have so many people that want to join the masses. Oh, the masses are for this, and we're going to wave the flag, and we're going to represent this and that as the greatest thing in the world, but they do nothing but wave the flag. What they forget is this. And same in politics, my God, we saw that these last couple of years. People go to extremes, they separate people. They forget that everyone wants to be part of the winning teams. They join these groups and find out some of them aren't the best groups to join. But because they supported them, well, they don't want to talk bad about them. What they forget is this. All the masses are made up of individuals, one person, the power of one. So if that person had a power of one and didn't go along with this but believed in something else, they could switch immediately and put all the power there. That's what people must know.
Yeah. Our work is to bring the ocean to the heart of the people. So how can we do it that the people realize this is not only a destination for our holidays,
Right.
This is our water we need, and under the water there are animals, there are fascinating plants, there are fascinating creatures. They need to survive in this ocean, and if they don't survive, we will not survive as well. So how can we do that, that people realize that in their head? If you emotionalize it very, very much, then it has to come from the heart to the mind. But how can we do it?
I'd say, Susie, good question, and the answer is right in front of me. By people like you making films and telling people about it and showing them the importance. I was really so excited when The Cove, the movie The Cove, was made about the ocean creatures, the dolphins, the Japanese were clubbing to death. Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah.
They had to sneak in and do it.
Yes.
And all the things Paul Watson did, including the television show Whale Wars, it made people aware of what people are doing to destroy the life in there. And you know, if the whales and everybody else went, or just take it the whales, or the sharks disappear, the sharks would know they're bad, they eat you. No, that's not true. If the sharks all disappeared, it would upset the equilibrium of the sea. All of a sudden, everything would be gone, and then all of a sudden, the land is gone too. So it's a matter of letting these heroes know about it. And we did another film that we had showed, and we helped back it up on the side of the United Nations, maybe 8, 9 years ago, all about the erasure of the species that we have, how the species are being erased, and how 50% of all species have been eliminated, mainly caused by things man that had done. Well, if we did it, we should change it. So the more people see this in film, the more they say, oh yeah, we didn't know this. We want to be on a good bandwagon and do something. And another good thing to do in films like this is tell people, what can you do? It's something so simple as to go to your local waterway or your local beach. Pick up some of the papers, pick up some of the junk before it gets in the ocean there. If someone missed a trash can, pick it up. You know, that's okay. Pick it up and put it in that darn trash can. When you start caring about it, don't use things in your house that could go down the toilet or that could go down the sinks that destroy the waterways. Stop doing it. You can do something individually to make a big difference. It's individuals that have that power, and that's how we start doing it, and this is a great way to start with your film.
Yeah. It's a little bit a childish question I have. If you could talk to the ocean and to the animals, what would you tell them?
I would say the same thing I said to the turtles in Barbuda that we started saving and doubled their population, okay? We're here for you. You may not understand me, but we are here for you. Paul Watson tells a beautiful story. He was out saving these whales, right? And then he had these ships on each side of him crushing in on him. And he was on a little boat and they were crushing him. They were after this one whale, but his boat was between, the little boat, between the big whalers and the whale. He said, JP, it was like a miracle. In front of me, this giant whale jumped in front of me, right up in front of my boat, and his eye was open looking at me. He knew somehow what I was doing to save them, went back in the water and got away. He somehow knew.
Yes.
So I would say, we're here, and we're not going to stop, and we're going to make sure there's many of us following. We're going to preserve that which we inherited. We're going to make it better because we were here, and I'm going to, by gosh, take finances that I have, take my own personal time, and get involved personally, and tell this story to as many people as I can. Help us save this planet. It's a good planet, and we're going to have children and grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren. Let's leave something better for them. Let us be the generation. Let us be the ones that help save the planet and reverse things.
Right.
It's like gas and oil. Whether it's because of the war that's going on there in the Ukraine, and maybe there's problems with the Russians cutting off oil, or we depend on you and we want you to stop the war, but you're trying to hold us up because of this. Or it's like stupid things that are going on where maybe even in my country, the United States, they wanted to cut off oil and gas as much as possible and immediately go to alternative energy. But they are stupid. I got to say why they're stupid, okay? If you switch immediately overnight, look what happened to the United States. All of a sudden, there was no new oil that could be discovered. Prices went up, and now we're relying. I didn't even know until what happened to Russia started. The United States was buying, what, 500 million barrels or some crazy amount from Russia. Crazy. We were not only supplying our own in the United States, we were exporters of it. So what I say to everybody is, and I'm an ecologist, is this is great, but you got to do it slowly. You can't do it like that or it upsets everything. Now everyone says, it didn't work, ecology doesn't work. That's bad. That's a bad message, Mr. President, everyone that's doing. It's a good intention. But if you shut it off right away and people suffer because of it, they're not going to like it. You should have a plan to ease it in. We know that most of the world runs off oil and gas, ships, trains, my God. You've got to do it slowly. You can't do it overnight. Now everyone likes the new idea. They get involved instead of, oh, that's not working. The gas is now 3 times as expensive. The oil is twice as expensive. Oh, this is terrible. Maybe ecology doesn't work. You've got to know how to do it between a businessman and ecologist so it works for everybody to benefit by it, not just those that want to get reelected and say so.
So it's possible to reconcile economy and ocean protection.
It's very easy to do that. All you've got to know is what you're doing. It's so easy. You don't have to dump in the ocean. You don't have to stop overnight oil and gas. No, do it, but over a long period of time, do it properly. And I think a main reason for that is, no disrespect, we've got some good politicians that mean well in my country, your country, all countries. But most politicians aren't business people. They have never even had a lemonade stand that they ran. They don't understand business, and they're influenced by other people that are mainly looking into being reelected. You know, you got to be smart. You got to do it with the people, not just one side that says, we got to do this. Yes, we've got to do it. Let's do it. Let's do it smart.
That's right. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.